It is so great to have everyone back. I'm excited for this week. We have got some new stuff going on.
Hey, Julie, great to see you.
Hey, Daddy-O.
It's summer like.
Sorry?
It's summer like here in Tennessee.
Oh, it was summer like all weekend for me, and then now it's gross and rainy, which has really put a damper on my productivity day.
Really?
So, oh yeah. Oh, the weather. I'm sorry. Does the weather not affect your productivity?
Yeah, but I thought when the weather's bad outside, that drives you inside. So you're like, I can't be doing anything outside, and your nose to the grindstone.
Sometimes that happens, but sometimes it makes it to where I don't want to move off my couch.
Gotcha. Hey, I just sent you an email with a link to a post. Oh, I sent it to me. Hold on.
Okay.
It's worth
Um.
it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I also because I had a friend in town over the weekend. It was beautiful outside. I had to catch up on both out like errands and work, so I needed to go outside, and so it just made it not a great day.
Well, welcome everyone to Monday Night Domains. Thank you, Free Name, for sponsoring Monday Night Domains. This is a show that I used to do on Clubhouse for about 2.5 years, so probably about 130 episodes. And Julie's been joining me for the past 7 or 8 months, maybe a year. And
Oh, look at a year here in a bit.
we'll have to see what anniversary is. But what we're going to do tonight is do the first half hour simulcast on X, LinkedIn, Instagram.
No.
No, okay, not on Instagram. Facebook,
Yes.
Truth
Yes.
Social, Blue Sky.
I don't know what that is.
Well, that's the thing is I listened to someone, a VJ, a DJ on the radio, on satellite radio, having to read off all of her X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, social or Truth Social, and it was like it was all I could say. What if you just had a domain name? One simple domain name, pagehow.com, whatever your name is.com, and you could, no matter what the social media flavor of the month was, um, you could just give that out. And if you gave it out 3 years ago, guess what? It's still current. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. I just saw the post that you sent me via email. If you guys want to go check it out, it's on Dad's Twitter page. He posted, come join us tonight for Monday Night Domains, and everyone has responded with memes of cats, which
Well,
is
I think it was, let's see, someone responded first. I said Julie loves cats, and then all of a sudden so what do you think about some of these posts? Do you like them?
let me hang on. We have to get the expert.
Okay.
What do you think? Look, that's us hand registering 1 million domains an hour, so we can get super rich and buy you a cat tree. What do you think? I don't believe in you, hater. I That's
Oh.
awesome.
So
I
now not only is it going to be what does Julie think about this domain name?
It's what does Mia Mouse think about the domain? The fact that I don't have Mia Mouse .cfd at the very minimum is kind of shameful. I should work on that. I mean, she's my little we chit chat, we talk business, we talk strategy. Because if I'm talking to myself, then that makes me apparently they commit some people for that. So talking to the cat makes total sense.
All right. Well, last week we started and talked about that we would start this week our contest, which is it started with the question, can you still make money in domain names? Has everything been taken? Especially for younger generations like you, Julie, you can have a sense that everyone's already bought all the good real estate and now it's super expensive. Everyone's bought the good stocks and now they're trading at 30 times earnings. Everyone's bought the good crypto. Everyone's bought all this stuff. And can you still go in and make money again? And I was lucky enough to sell a couple domain names for over $1 million. And so I said, why don't I try to make $1 million again? And why don't we do it on the show? So we haven't really decided whether it's your money or my money, but what do you? What?
Oh,
What?
when
What?
we, oh, I no, you're. That I thought you meant investing it originally, and I was like, I don't know if I have $100 to invest.
But we decided that $100 was a good number because whether you cut the budget, even if you're, paying all your bills, that would be a good number to start with. Now, the lure of domain names, if you're out there thinking about making $1 million, is, hey, who needs money? I got a credit card. I can put $2,000-$3,000 worth of domain names on a credit card. They're all going to sell so fast. I pay back the credit card.
Should we have a special guest mom on for this one?
But I think what we're going to try to do is start with $100 and try to use some of the things I've learned over the years and Julie's special knowledge and try to come up with how to do it and then tell everybody and show everybody how we did it. And along the way, I think we'll learn a lot about domains. Hopefully I'll learn, something new, but that's the plan, Julie. So we've got $100 burning a hole in our pocket.
Well, I wouldn't say burning. No, I think $100, a lot of people are doing a little bit higher amounts. I know some people are doing like $5 to $1,000, but if you're thinking about getting these new domain investors interested in the industry, it's got to be an amount that they can view as disposable. Because we always say don't invest more than you can afford to lose. And when you're talking with kids, like people in their 20s, we cannot afford to lose $500. I got news for you. So a lot of the times, this would have to be money that they would have invested anyway. Maybe they have a set amount aside for and like investing in stocks. But it's got to be an amount that isn't taking over all of their savings. We're not putting all of our chickens in one bucket,
Yep. And I think that the temptation of investing in domains is you can read Twitter, you can read X, and you can see, in fact, I pulled up some, I just sold, and I just sold this for $4,500. I just sold this for $2,900. I just sold this for $500. You know what I mean? Ish Millie, who runs some of the best spaces on Twitter, I think he just sold THC Marketplace for 4 figures, you know what I mean? And you could think, oh, well, that's easy. All I have to do is go buy a name that's something that ends in Marketplace and I'll sell it the next day. But what you don't see is all the names he had to sell. And then the other thing is sometimes it's just, I'm not really going to call it luck because I think better names will sell more likely than other names. But you just don't know if that person who wants your name is going to wake up today with the money and the ability to buy it. So how do we build some inventory for Julie? I thought, Julie, we'd talk a little bit tonight about what to buy in terms of what groups of domains and then where to buy them.
All right.
So the theory is all the good names should be taken.
Should be.
If they weren't taken, somebody would buy them right now. What do you think, Julie? Are all the good names taken?
Absolutely not. Some people just aren't as creative as they should be, and no offense, but domainers tend to only see the tech world and the crypto world, and they see what's trending in your guys' niche, which is a niche. Let's get that straight. It's a very popular niche. But there's a whole world outside of there that maybe you guys just don't think to look at. I can promise you there is not that many domainers that are registering pinkponyclub.com. That was a good one. I shouldn't have.
Which one was it?
Pink Pony Club.
Pink Pony Club, you like that one? Okay.
It's a Chapel Roan song that's really popular, but I think she might have trademarked the name. But if she didn't, someone needs to start that boutique. It's just all about girlhead and being a girl.
Gotcha. So let's talk about trademarks. Most people, when they think about domain names, their first thought is, I'm going to buy the name of someone else's company and call them up and they'll have to buy it from me and I'm going to make money by blackmailing. And that is the first temptation. And most of the first domain names that were registered 30 years ago, the temptation was to buy McDonald's. There's a great story out there in one of the blogs about a reporter that called McDonald's in 1995 and said, why don't you own your domain name? And they said, we're still looking at this internet thing. We're not really sure if it's going to catch. But
wrong.
Here, I'll tell you, there's 2 things to think of with trademark names. Let's cover it right now. So if you're out there and you're thinking, either a new company just started called, say, Blackbird was the new AI company out there. And you're like, oh, I'm going to buy blackbird.com. That's taken. I'm going to buy blackbird.football. And I'm going to call them up and say, oh, you got to buy it from me. You know what I mean? Most of the time, they'll have already got what they want. You know what I mean? And there's two things. There's will you sell it to them? And then there's legally, if you go register the name of another company and an arbitrator determines that the only reason you registered the name was to sell it to that other company, they can actually take the name from your account. And when you buy a domain and you just go click to the terms of service, you just go click, like, I want this name so badly. Oh, click, I agree. What you're agreeing is, if someone opens up an arbitration process and shows that they have a trademark, they show that you don't have any good reason to own that name, and they show some actions on your part, or they ascribe to you the fact that it looks like you just bought the name, then you may lose that name. And you can just not reply, or whatever you do, your registrar, whether it's GoDaddy or Namecheap or whoever you buy it from, because that's how you own a domain name. You have it in your account at a registrar. They will simply give it to that other party. Then there's, will someone want to buy it from you? Most of the time, if they spent the time coming up with the trademark domain, like me, I didn't trademark Joe Domains, but I've gone as Joe Domains for a long time, and I have joedomains.com. But if someone called me up and said, hey, you want to buy joedomains.xyz, I would probably call the guy a son of a gun. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you trying to do? Trying to sell me my own stuff? It'd be like someone coming up on the front lawn, grabbing a tree out of my yard and saying, hey, you want to buy this tree? You know what I mean? Now, the fine line is, and Julie, we could talk about one of the names we thought about buying this week, is sometimes you can find a name that's owned by multiple companies. And you can try to make the point that, hey, no one really has the specific trademark rights to be the sole name for this thing. Maybe there's a lot of companies that own it. There's a lot of companies that have had to have longer domain names. And so these do make good prospects to reach out to somebody with their company name. You're still going to get a lot of blowback from people that are going to say, you son of a gun, even if you're the domain girl. But there's also some people that be like, oh, yeah, I've been watching that one. I didn't know it was available. Use Cyber Squatter. I can't believe you're going to make me pay money for it, but how much? And you may end up selling it. Now, it's not something I've done a lot of.
It's a little bit questionable morally from what I can get.
Yeah, I don't know if it's morally for me as much as it's a lot of negative energy to bring on. Now, abbreviations I think are great. If you've got a 3 or a 4-letter abbreviation that can be used for a lot of things, but it's also a company's abbreviation, that's great. If it's a shortened name for what a company has, I think that's great. But I was looking through the expired domains, meaning names that used to be registered, now they're not. And that's a big source of what new investors buy. And I came up with this one that was Olympus Coffee. And, you know, there's the Iliad movie is coming out, and maybe, you know, Greek coffee or that type of thing. So I thought, let me check and see if there's a bunch of Olympus coffees around the world. And there was 2 or 3. So what did you think about the name when I shared it with you?
I liked it because there already is those businesses that exist. B, that is not a very far stretch for someone if they wanted to create a new one. C, it's a 2-word domain. Like, that's got some sort of inherent tags or something. I'm also an Olympian. I was a Percy Jackson's kid, so I was like, yeah. I can do it. But then no, we looked it up and we saw that there are these companies with that name, with that brand already done, that have the long form of the domain. And I'm like, well, we might already have a potential buyer. So, but because we're doing our project with only $100, I was like, is it? We're not going to put all of our eggs in one basket, but we're putting quite a few eggs, you know, and eggs are expensive right now. So maybe that's not one that we put a lot of eggs into, because we're hoping that out of these 3 or 4 places that have this name, none of them say, hey, you're evil, so we're not going to buy this from you, so you're making me pay for my own name.
Yeah, and we didn't see enough. Maybe if there was 6 to 10 names. I'll tell you some examples of some names that I think work here. names that end in some really popular prefixes like group or capital or services or tech, you know what I mean, with a good single word before them. You know, if just say someone dropped Integrity Capital, you know what I mean? Now you may have, because in today's market everyone likes these names, you may have 10 people bid on that name and may go for $1,000. But if something like that popped up and we find it, I think that's one that we may go for. So in terms of what names to buy, the thought is a regular domain name that's available for registration is about $11. There used to be some specials where you could get them as low as $6 or $7. Now I think Sav and Pork Bun and Dynadot are about $10.50. So I think we're going to talk about $10 if we buy an expired name. I mean, I'm sorry, a name that's unregistered. Then we can buy names that the registrars like GoDaddy are selling. Someone didn't renew it. Before they give it back, they try to sell it, and you can bid as low as $1 for those names.
But don't you have to pay the renewal fee?
Which is that $11. So right. All in, it's about 12.
12 to 15 bucks a name.
12, 13. Now, if you bid $1, everybody on the expired name auction platform is going to see that you bid. And they may not have looked for all the domain names. They may just wait to see who bids on names. So there's a chance by bidding $1, you're going to have someone else bid $6, and then you're going to have to bid $11, and then they're going to bid $16, and then you're $22, and 22 plus 11 is $33, and that's a third of our money.
So in that question, though, do you ever see it happen where you bid $1 and people say, oh, it's only worth $1?
No, most of the time,
it's a green light.
Most of the time, here's the tricky part. If no one bids $1, the name goes to what's called a reverse auction, and it starts at $50. But whoever buys it then gets it for sure. It's a buy it now.
Yeah.
So in an auction, you got the auctioneer, hey, I need bids, give me one. And once someone goes 1, then all of a sudden everyone goes, oh, what are they bidding on? And there's 5 minutes. The auction is extended for 5 minutes for people to jump in. Now, if no one bids on it, it goes to 50, and the next day it goes to 40. The next day it goes to 30. Next day it goes to 11, and then it can get to 5 on GoDaddy's platform. And then you can buy it for 5 plus the 11, so 16.
Okay. So maybe that.
It had to last 4 days with no one else buying it.
So I do want to bring up, More Than SEO had a point. Are we, with our first name, are we doing that? Are we checking backlinks? Are we checking SEO?
It's a good question. I don't think I'm an expert in it, so I don't think I could teach Julie to be an expert. And I don't think there's free money in that area, because there's a lot of people watching every day with their AI that know a lot more about Ahrefs trust flow than I do. And so I would have to say that if no one else wanted a name, unless I felt like I had a unique edge, that I had a data point that no one else knew, I would be hesitant to want to buy what seemingly had great SEO stats, but who am I going to sell it to?
Yeah. Well, I feel like if we're really trying to make money here and make a little bit go a long way, it has to be because we're smarter, know more, and working harder than the other people. And so in those situations, we are not smarter, nor do we know more.
Yeah.
Like, it would be a good strategy if it wasn't us doing it. That's not playing to our strengths, because our strength.
So the ways that I would do it would be, say, Julie, you found a list. Someone said, hey, Julie, I saw your show on X. I've got about 1,000 names that our company owns. I don't know what to do with them. and they sent them to you, and you got a sense that they hadn't checked the Ahref stats. You know what I mean? Then you might feel like you had an edge to check them and say, I'll give you $30 a piece for these 3. But it would have to come from some edge, I think, because we don't have the capital yet to outbid someone. Now, because we're not the end user, unless the name had links quality relating to domains, you know what I mean? It isn't really us, Ryan. But good question. Those names are liquid. Like if we got a hold of one that had a link score of on a scale of 1 to 100 was 65 and it had this and that, we could definitely liquidate it with a market value. You know what I mean? So if we did find one, that would be great. But so let's talk about, I sent you an email. So one of the things I think we're going to do is we talked, Julie, about brandables. That's one type of domain name. But I think we talked a little bit about this. And what were your thoughts about brandables? Maybe this isn't the right time. What were you thinking?
Okay, I think brandables are phenomenal, but they have to be a good domain name to be phenomenal, because you may not be selling it to a brand that's already set on what they want it to be. They may be looking at what's available, and so it has to be a good one-word domain name we're talking here. Unless you can get, because like you do see boutiques and like different smaller businesses that have long brandable domain names. They have like ducksandrosesstore.com. Okay. But they got that because they want to pay hand registered price. Because I think also what might turn people off of, even if we do turn around and sell this name for even, $25-$50, not looking to make a huge profit, they have to reach out to us and go through more of a profit than just a hand reg. So I think that might be a great idea for later in the project whenever we have more capital to invest. But I think to buy a brandable name right now that would be worth it, it's just not in the budget.
Unless we find one that we think we can sell wholesale, right?
Yeah.
Like if we do the work to find a name, and even though we could wait around and hope a buyer comes, we may feel like we did enough work that even though we paid $10 for the name or $11 for the name, we could put it on my domain outlet, or we could just post it on X and say, hey, if you're looking to add a name, if you're a domainer who's more of a sit back and wait, hold good quality names, and we came up with a good brandable name and we put it out there for $60 or $70, you're buying the chance to make $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 off of it. And because we're trying to make money quickly, you may see us do that. You may see us go through here on the show, like how we found this brandable. You know what I mean?
And I think that might be a sales strategy that we might have to take is, hey, we're trying to sell these fast, so we're not maximizing our profit. And I do think there's a little bit of, oh, she's just a little girl. She doesn't know what she's talking about. So yes, like if we're going to, I'm okay letting people think they're taking advantage of me. I am totally fine with that, because if they're trying to get a name for cheap they can sell for a lot of money in a few years, and I am trying to sell a domain name for not a lot of money but quickly so I can reinvest that, our goals align here. So they can think they're taking advantage of me.
That's clippable right there. That's the whole show right there, Julie. That's clippable. We got to clip that.
You're not going to see my cute nails. No.
But I think to finish up on this thing, in general, if you take the position that all the good names are taken, then we're going to be looking for names that have recently expired. We see something that someone else didn't, and then we're going to check ourselves and make a maybe list and then come up with it. Then the second way to find a name is you say, what would I want? And most likely everything you want should be taken. The neat thing is, what's that?
So what's second best?
Or the internet and domain registrars never tell you what's not taken. They're robots. All they can do is answer the question. If you learn one thing tonight, know this. All the registrar can do is answer the question, is this name registered? And it can say yes or no. You can't go to the store and go, hey, GoDaddy, what's happening? How you doing? Hey, listen, I was thinking about buying a name. what do you think I should buy? And their feeling is if they recommended the names, they'd be like a stockbroker. And what if they were good or what if they were bad? So they show you who's paying them to promote stuff. But so what you have to do is you simply have to say, I've got a list of 1,000 words. Are they taken? And you expect it to be yes, 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 yes. And if all of a sudden one goes bloop,
no,
it's like those old computers where they spit out the thing. And you're like, oh, it spit out something. Now, when they do, you got to look at it. You got to say, did I spell the word right? Seriously, if you're looking for great names and you're surprised they're available, you got to, did I put in a Spanish version that had the little umla or whatever? You know what I mean? Did I put in a typo? But on the other hand, that's how you find out that it was available, and you just say, thank you very much. I'll take it. And there's no one to go, oh, I'm sorry, Julie. That name was too good. We didn't mean to sell that to you. So those are the two ways. You either say what you want and see if it's taken, or you say what was recently given back. And those would be the two ways we buy domains.
All right. So I have a question that I definitely do want to address.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first and then I will. Devin wants to know, why not just buy $79 TLD at our account and try and flip that?
That's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea.
But I feel like Web3 doesn't quite have the liquidity as Web2 right now.
Well, I was going to say, I think right now our goal is get new young people into domaining. And can they do it? And I think once you have to add the extra step of, oh, I have to tell you what Web3 is, because people still don't know. And some people still think that Web3 is all crypto and a scam and untrustworthy. So I think that would just put kind of a damper in the get new people.
Yeah, but at the same point, as we're looking for new trends to find Web2 names, it never hurts to check and see if that TLD is available. And then, depending on what percentage of our total budget it could be, we could, and this is going to be one of the things that we do maybe that's different than other people. I want to give a shout out to Domain Academy. Mike Seiger was on last week, and they have a small group of their marketing team that's going to be doing the same type of contest. They're starting with $500 each, and they've got a competition between 5 or 6 people. And so they're going to start doing those podcasts next week. But right now, they're actually doing the work right now. So we'll follow theirs and see how they're doing and maybe steal a couple of their strategies.
Well, I think it'll be fun to compare and contrast our strategies. Maybe we'll have to get them on the show. But I do, honestly, that is not a good idea for later once we do have a little bit more like wiggle room. Because right now we have 100. This is the most crucial part of our process is our first $100. So there is no wiggle room there. But, once we have reinvested and we've got a different amount of capital going on, then I think it definitely would be,
let's at least get to some names tonight, Julie. So yeah. I sent you an email, and I watch domains every day. And so I came up with a list of domains. Let's see.
And don't forget, we are going to continue this conversation on our Twitter space after. If anyone wants to hop on, we love to hear you guys talk. So yeah,
say more about that, Julie. How is that?
Sorry?
Yeah, so what'll happen is right now you're watching us, and then we're going to start up on at Joe Domains. And then you can either listen or you can come up as a speaker. But anyway, let's see. Can you see my screen now?
Oh, I have to put it up. I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Okay.
I was too busy promoting the party. Okay, there we are.
All right, so I sent Julie an email, and these are names that I had put on my watch list for the past 30 days. And this is part of names that I call functional names. So these may not be the name of a company, but the question is, are these names enough that someone that doesn't have a great domain name might want to use this name instead of their own? And so these are what I call purpose domain names. They say what they do and they do what they say. And so, Julie, I sent these to you, and you can see some patterns here. They have endings like store and shop and blog and forum. What did you think about them, and do you think we should go for any of them?
Yeah, I liked them. I think some of them definitely got a little bit too long, where they still might be good names, but just not worth the risk, I guess, if we're because we're trying to sell this quick. I think exactmatchdomainname.com has a lot of great words, but I think our target audience would be domainers, and they would see four-word domain name and cry and say no. Um, I like, let's see, I like Retired Blog. I like the Domain Store. I like, there was one, oh, I like Scottsdale. Sorry, I see it on a smaller screen. I like
Yeah.
Scott State Attorney, but you said you didn't love that.
Which one?
Scottsdale State Attorney.
No, I like it. So the realistic thing is, on one hand, you're like, one of the things about these names is most of them, like Scottsdale State Attorney, if you own that domain and you have a parking page where people pay for advertising, you might make $20 or $30 for a single click, because an attorney would pay that to have a customer come to their site and then set up an estate plan. And
Yeah.
Scottsdale is a very wealthy area. It's a small enough part of the Phoenix metropolitan area that the people that live there, in my opinion, consider themselves Scottsdale. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
they
Yeah,
are Scottsdale. They are not. Yeah, yeah.
right. And so if someone, and they have a lot of part-time residents that come down from Canada, so I actually like it. And this would be an outbounder name. And I think I think this is worthy of starting off the portfolio with. What do you think?
Okay. I think we're gonna have to look a little deeper. I think I also don't have the price on this name. I think if it's
These are hand read. These are available for hand registration.
oh, I think absolutely, but I think we might need to start with our big names. We talked about doing one big name and then a few more littler names to
Okay.
make sure we know how many littler names we can buy without going over budget.
Well, let's assume that we buy one for 50 and then we do five at 10.
I
So I scrolled down to see if you like anything else.
I like that one. Oh, Wales. We had a conversation about this. I thought Wales, the country, had an H, but I can't spell.
So I think we should get Whales blog. Now, bloggers don't always have a lot of money, but at the same point, they are usually good at internet marketing because they're trying to monetize their blog. And even though someone might already have a name for their blog, like if you've ever seen the language, the Welsh language, it's crazy the different letters and everything they have. But the idea would be is that someone might want to upgrade or put their content on Wales blog, because the prestige I think it gives people is when they see a search result and they glance at the URL and it says Wales blog, the idea is that, wow, they must have got that really early. That's a country, and to the extent that it's its own country and it's part of the United Kingdom, I just thought that stood out in terms of what's available. And so it may be a little different type of outbounding, because it won't be outbounding to people that have this as a company name. But I think they should be easy to find prospects, because we can just type in Wales blog and see blogs about Wales. And you have to send out maybe 30 or 40 emails, right?
Yeah.
And most of them are going to say, I don't want it, it sucks. But we're just trying to get a sale of maybe, what do you think, Julie? $200 or $300 to get us started off?
I think we definitely, you brought up a point that is something we should think about. What is the first language of Wales?
What is the what?
First language.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they don't speak English primarily.
Yes, they do.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. It's.
Oh,
I don't know if you watched Welcome to Wrexham.
haven't.
Oh, it's great. This is great show about the Rob Reynolds and the other guy from It's Sunny in Philadelphia. They bought a soccer team and they've taken it from the lower division to the upper division, and it's an amazing story. And probably more people know about Wales now than they did before.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Their are Welsh and English. Okay, good. But that is something to bring up when you're talking about using different country domains. Is
and what I've learned is that for travel, English is kind of the language of travel.
Yeah.
Because people, like, even, it's the language where you may be booking travel from English speaking countries. So I think those two might give us a good start tonight. Scottsdale Estate Attorney and Wales blog. What do you think?
I like it. I like it. I don't know.
All right. Well, join us on Twitter. I've got one more recommendation for Julie tonight. That'll be a Twitter exclusive, an X.com exclusive.
See y'all at the after party. If you want to come up and speak, we would really appreciate you liking, retweeting the space, getting more community, and that helps you too. If you do come up and speak and want to promote your stuff, then if you retweet it, then you get more listeners. That's exciting. Okay. See you guys in 2.5 seconds over at joedomains.com on X.
All right.